All right, these numbers are staggering. Already the U.S. Flood Insurance Administrator saying that 35,000 claims filed as of noon today. They're running at thousands per day. At that fast a clip, saying this is very fast for them to move at all. Chris Perras is on the phone with us from Houston, where he had to evacuate his home. Chris, how are you doing now?
I'm dry and safe and alive with my family, but it will be a multi-month, if not year, recovery.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm glad you're well. I'm glad your family's well, and I know what you're staring at here. How is your home? What have they told you? What have you been able to tell?
Well, I can tell in real time. For whatever reason, I still have power to my house.
Wow.
I literally live on the bayou. I'm on a cul-de-sac within the area, and for whatever reason, I have security system cameras up. They've been functioning nonstop since even before the flood. We evacuated the first time Saturday morning. We've moved 3 times farther and farther away from the bayou, still nearby the house, to keep an eye on it, because there have been now talk of looters and everything else, which is ridiculous given the travesty. But I have live cameras in my house, around my house. I can see the floating furniture. You know,
oh, my goodness.
It's not a pretty sight. I know it's just stuff, but it is starting over, right? I mean, it's flood insurance, whether it's, you know, FEMA does try to help, but even if you have private flood insurance, which we do, it does not even come close to covering something like this. When you're talking about a middle income earner who's in their 50s or 60s and saved money over time, I mean, it's not even close to covering contents and, you know, replacement of years of savings and memories and whatever else there is.
Incredible. Trouble with that insurance, the way it works, for those 1 out of 5 homeowners who are lucky enough to have coverage, it's not great coverage, right? It's like a quarter of the value of the destruction. That's not across the board, but those are some of the numbers I've been reading. Are those about right?
That will probably be right with regards to our house. Contents, that will be a lot less than even that. You know, there's usually, you know, some number on contents and some number on the habitat, the place, you know, the house. Right. The house is usually, you know, somewhere around 2.5 times as much you can get back to repair it and get it back functioning as the contents. But, you know, most of these houses were built in the 50s and 60s. You know, Houston went through their boom in the 70s. A lot of them are very modern. They are 1-story, you know, ranch houses. So, you know, a lot of these houses in this area, although it's a upper middle class to upper class neighborhood, you know, they're under water with everyone's stuff on one floor. We have a 2-story house. You know, our entire first floor is under 6 feet of water right now. I think when I was looking at the security cameras about an hour ago, it's about 6 feet.
Oh my gosh! You know, Chris, I'm curious. I mean, have you seen any looters or know of any robbers in the area? I know the case of the Houston mayor. He was declaring a curfew from midnight to 5 a.m. to cut down on this sort of thing. They're trying to cut down on it. It's rare, but it's enough. What have you heard?
So I have not personally seen, but we do have a neighborhood watch network that is a group of great people in my neighborhood, and they were posting things immediately yesterday afternoon with pictures. People that obviously were not supposed to be in the neighborhood, sheets over their heads, carrying stuff, you know, pictures of people with, it looks like, guns, you know. Now, I was out running the few errands we could this morning with my wife and ran into a fire department official from another district who was brought in, and he said they were out patrolling last night in boats. The fire department and everyone else in the police boats are heavily armed. And, you know, the laws here in Texas are a little bit more lenient for prosecuting, you know, people robbing and taking advantage of others during natural catastrophes. So, you know, it's not the area you really want to try to loot, given, you know, Texas is a pretty conservative.
Yeah, there's not a lot of flexibility there, and then so it should be, especially at times like this. But Chris, I imagine that camera system you have set up and still operating, both inside and outside the property, affords you a little bit more protection than maybe others, and proof, which would hold back people who are, you know, ill-intended.
Oh, for sure. And we're not going to be able to get to the house, you know, for a little while at least, because we don't know the bayou levels when they're going to bring them down. But they're, you know, the system went off even before the flooding because there was a window breakage. And I don't know if there was high winds and all those other things. So back to the insurance side of the question, you know, in the cases of high winds, you know, and rain entering your house, your homeowner's insurance will cover that. You know, it's the rising water that your flood insurance covers. So, you know, and then there's FEMA that covers other stuff. So, you know, in theory, you know, you could be working with 3 insurance companies all at the same time trying to figure out how much and if you can recover anything. But, you know, I know people who are literally 6 houses away from me who've never had any water in their house, street water. We had an IRS flood a year ago where we had like 17 inches of rain in a half a day, something like that. And there was a lot of street water flooding, which is, you know, rainwater, and relatively clean. You get a half inch in your house, you cut out some drywall, put in some fans, blow out the humidity, you know, sheetrock back up, and within 2-3 months, it looks the same and you feel the same. This is different.
Yeah, I imagine.
This is a lot different. So.
Well, Chris, you hang in there. I'm glad you're fine. I'm glad your family's all right. The important stuff is okay. This is a nightmare for you, I'm sure, but you sound like you have the perseverance and will to get through it, as do so many of your fellow Texans. Hang in there, Chris. My best to your family.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too.